Hello and welcome to Gloves Off number 7, Super Grassroots Bros. I'm your host, Chris ZX, along with my co-hosts, Koopa.
Is this thing on?
Now it is Biddy
Hold on.
and Law.
Hi.
All right, we got it this time, guys.
Yes.
Third time's the
Perfect.
charm. I mean, we did it right on the first try, obviously.
Nice. Gloves off number 7.
Well,
7 intros.
I think that's a shame because we only hit 4. But it'll be way better because I hated last week when I kind of started it and didn't start recording and then recorded like halfway through. That felt pretty bad. So I'd rather redo the intro like 3 times than like miss it.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
Yeah.
we even had like some good sports banter that like people aren't gonna hear. It was like local
Aaron Judge
sports
just hit a
team.
home run, so my dick's really hard right now.
That's local sports banter.
Watch the UFC fight this weekend.
Yeah, anyone
Yeah.
decide on that?
I'll put money on Habib.
Nah, I'm-
Hell of it.
I'm good, man.
Or I'll put
Where were
$100
you- where-
and lose.
Where were you where Anderson Silva broke his leg on another man's leg?
Oh God, that's so disgusting.
Underneath my couch.
I actually, I was actually gonna pull up
No.
the clip. I was thinking about it for anyone who doesn't get the reference, but I think I'll pass. Basically,
No,
it's two shins colliding and one like going in half. It's really
my-
disgusting.
Yeah,
Like,
and
No.
speaking of shins,
what do you got?
Grassroots is the main topic for today.
Yeah, very smooth transition. So Grassroots and Smash Bros. And this is actually going to be something that we wanted to do where we were going to talk about like how to grow your local scene. But I was thinking about this, and while I think that is a cool idea, and I think it's like the perfect thing to have like a series about later, it's still sort of like a proof of concept over here. And so I thought a better approach might be to describe what exactly grassroots is, which I think people generally get the idea of what it is. It's essentially something that grows from the ground up, essentially from little seedlings, grass being your lowest level on like any kind of construction, and then it kind of moves up from there. But there is a way that has essentially fueled Smash Brothers as we know it, starting from I guess Melee really. For anyone who is unaware, there's like a whole Melee documentary which basically explains where Smash Bros came from and sort of defined the whole scene to begin. But it's traveled so much since. And this was I guess this was kind of Koopa. You and I were talking about this a little bit. How would you like?
Mhm.
How would you basically open up this topic?
Well, on the subject of the Melee doc, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of went back and watched a little bit of it, and it's like severely dated now. So I'm just patiently waiting for that Samox update video on Armada, please. My Patreon money is just kind of burning at the waist here, but yeah, I feel like so a big theme that we kind of like to do, or at least what we've tried to do, we try to base the week's episode off of whatever the biggest event of the week was. And this past weekend was Glitch, which is kind of the staple regional series in the MDVA region for Xanadu. And just kind of looking at everything as a whole, like how the tournament structure has kind of just changed like exponentially since like I think the Melee doc came out originally in like what 2011 or something like that, like 2010. I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me. But at the time where that came out versus where we are now, the definition of what grassroots like used to mean versus what it means now is something that's it's kind of quite like stark because like when I used to go to weeklies, like even back in early like 2014, like you'd be lucky if a tournament had like a microphone to talk into for the stream or whatever. But like now you look at kind of these like upstart locals, like everybody's got a pretty strong, you know, powered streaming computer. Everybody has headsets for the streaming setup. The production quality, like in the bigger tournaments, has obviously been up as well. Like looking from the older Melee tournaments from 5 or 6 years ago to just how the production value has jumped. So I think it really makes it's kind of nice, kind of looking back from where you came from, makes you feel a little bit nostalgic, and also really gets you excited moving forward because a big emphasis that people have had going into Ultimate is that content creation and and production value is going to be very, very important moving forward. And I'm personally really excited to see how it all turns out.
I think you touched upon a few important points there in terms of like just like what's available at locals. Where in this documentary, if you ever watch it, most of the streaming and production it's mostly just like essentially VG boot camp, um, and it's kind of crazy because they were essentially like the main source for Smash Brothers content. Like they were on that before anyone was on it. They basically like defined it, right? So essentially people really gravitate towards a stream and sort of the ability to broadcast themselves. So in that, you were able to get a lot of personalities to develop, personalities that sort of spanned all over the country. And if you're really that interested in where Melee started, I do recommend you check out that documentary. But um, it made it a little bit simpler to have a baseline of players, like some like almost like a storyline to grip to and something to follow. Whereas now, if you go to a local, as you mentioned, it's almost like it's expected for you to just have the equipment ready. It's expected for you to record the gameplay.
Right.
It's expected for you to upload the stuff on YouTube. It's expected for it all to be high quality. Meanwhile, it still is not something that really has much professionalism around it. It's either a lot of young people running it or people crazy enough like me who just kind of believe in the overall like the sport of it, and it really ranges. But sure enough, it's all very grassroots in its own right, but a little bit different than maybe where it came from.
Hmm.
And I know like Law is actually into a lot of like filmmaking and documenting, and like I don't know, man, like what do you think about this? Because you do most of the work for any kind of like New Jersey montages, or I should say modern day New Jersey montages. Like it's just a little different.
Mm-hmm. Compared to like back then, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, so back then you could essentially have a tournament and everyone would know the channel. Like you go to VG Bootcamp, you watch, you're able to kind of follow the main top players that go there, and then the other players sort of fill around. But now it's a little bit different because it's just more like by region than it is like by say like stream.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like now it's just a lot of littered stuff, and like honestly, if you look at the Smash documentary now, Koopa said it was dated. It's definitely dated. I mean, that thing. When I watched it the first time, I felt like I really liked the Mewtwo King episode, and then all the other episodes to me were kind of boring. But the mystery of the game is kind of what kept me watching. You know what I mean? Back then, I was not into it that much. Like I didn't understand exactly what was like. Like I just saw them getting hype over a video game. I was like, yo, this is so sick, and this is the game that I like. But now you have to really be unique to get attention when you do these things.
Yeah, and that is it is a little bit tough to be unique in something like streaming, and especially tournament streaming, because again, a lot of the stuff is an expectation, and also there's only so many ways you could really make like a tournament broadcast unique. It's essentially like any kind of real sport where you'll have like the Yankees in New York, and then you'll have like the Red Sox in Boston, and the local television stations sort of play those games, and they sort of just look the same. It's essentially the nature of the beast. It's like how you build up regions and how you show your region's players and people who come in. And that's sort of the structure of sports. However, something like Smash Brothers, Grassroots doesn't have much money behind it. It's literally just pure will that's like kind of driving the scenes.
Yeah, and like it's funny you kind of compare it to baseball because I every couple of like in my own spare time, I kind of like to find ways to compare Smash like other sports, and I kind of take it as like an amalgamation of like a bunch of them. Like in regards to baseball, like baseball in my opinion is a very regional sport. Like it's very like for me, I love baseball, but I know not everybody does. It's a very slow and boring sport to watch. So if you really like baseball and you live in a region that covers it, then naturally you're going to watch it. If you have if you have a region that's really strong in Smash, then actually you're going to gravitate to those. And like you said, like early on in Smash 4's life, and I guess Biddy can kind of chime in too, because I can't really speak for how things were back in Brawl since he's been a lot around in the scene, like way longer than I was. But VG was really the only local that like mattered for a really long time. Like they were the ones that kind of set the precedent for how to grow your scene, or like just kind of taking that whole grassroots motif and then eventually blooming into something to what they have now, where they were able to upgrade their space into like a really really big business and brand. So, but I can't speak for how things were like back in the day versus how they are now, obviously. So
Well, yeah, I think that's a great point. And actually, Biddy, you're probably a great person to talk to about this because if there's anything with Smash, there's definitely been like a different generations worth of players, and you'll see that even in the Melee documentary because you'll see people in that documentary that have no affiliation with the Melee scene at all to date, and then you'll see players that are still like on the top, that are essentially the gods that you'll see in the documentary that are still active all the time, like your Mango and your HBox and all that. But once Brawl came out, the landscape obviously changes up. But yeah, I mean, what were things like in Brawl essentially?
Yeah, so yeah, pretty much like I would say similar to like what you guys are talking about now, especially in the New Jersey / tri-state area back in Brawl. It was very interesting, mainly because like Tri-State was. It is argued that like Brawl, like New Jersey / Tri-State, was like the most like stacked region of like any like Smash game at the time. Like there were points where like more than half of like possibly like most of like the top 10 would be in the same area, or like more than half of the top 20 and whatnot would just be at the same local at one point. But it being back then, we didn't have um, the what's it called? We didn't have the money. We didn't have like big esports. We didn't even have like high quality like VODs and stuff. We just like a lot of the tournaments weren't even streamed at times back then. People just went, brought CRTs and just played. And I guess you could say, I mean, it was different in the sense where like you didn't like when you were in the area of a tournament, you didn't see many. At least in my opinion, because back then I was like an 0-2, like random, like casual, whatever. Well, I wasn't casual, I was trying to compete, but I wasn't the best at it. But more than half the time, like it just if a lot of times it just felt like a fest, if that makes sense. Where like tournaments, like the main like people got hyped about like the main parts of the tournaments and stuff, but no, you didn't really didn't see many like people take it like serious because they knew like at the end of the day it was mainly just hanging out with each other because especially back then people didn't see that there was a chance that Smash would turn into some of the stuff that we're seeing now. Like back then, we weren't thinking like, oh yeah, we know like in a few years from now it's going to be like stuff that we see on literally on TV, which is something I'm sure we'll get into a little later. I guess it was a bit more
foreshadowing.
What's up? Yeah, just a little
foreshadowing.
Yeah,
just
tiny bit.
Spoiler.
But it was like it was very like, and it's one of the main reasons like I like stayed involved with the scene because like a lot of the people were like so like chill and so like I'm not saying they aren't now, but it just felt like pretty much extra because like there are people like nowadays that like focus on like their image and like their online personas and stuff like that. Back then, people were just like mainly trying to like a little bit of trying to make money, but mainly just having a good time. And like touching up on what you mentioned before about like VG Bootcamp, like yeah, back then they were like the main group, like especially in the early stages of Brawl. Like if it like mainly tournaments in like tri-state, there were tournaments in MDVA, Texas, California. They were the ones streaming it, so they definitely were the group that pioneered like at least like the Brawl era of getting into content creation. And then like the towards the coming end years of Brawl is when like Clash tournaments came in, and then other groups started to emerge going into Smash 4.
Which that's actually a great point to take it from you because that was something I wanted to bring up today. Was essentially, I mean, now that there are a lot of other organizations out there in regions that are a little bit established outside of like VG Bootcamp and Melee and all of those things. I guess Clash being one of the guys after that, and then I would think like I guess like Smash Studios and those guys essentially, from what I could tell, kind of were able to get in on some of the larger events with VG Bootcamp, which kind of propelled them forward. But then I guess like Clash is native to like the Philadelphia area, but meanwhile there's some other Philadelphia streams, and then I'm not even sure where Smash Studios is. Are they out in like Vegas?
So
or?
I'm pretty sure they I don't fully know, but I'm pretty sure they mainly originated in like Delaware.
Yeah,
at least I'm pretty sure that's where like PB&J is from.
Yeah. All right, that kind of makes sense to me actually.
But like, yeah, but yeah, they definitely like they're definitely around.
So. Yeah, and I wanted to kind of piggyback on what you said, Chris, because that's actually something I like. I don't remember if I brought up on the podcast or not, but or just in general, but like back in like the early days, like you'd be like every region or like every region would have like one big stream to kind of carry them. Like the East Coast had VGBC, the West Coast for the before actually 2GG came around, I believe it was Showdown Smash that kind of ran the streets over there a little bit. Because I remember they streamed the whole first Genesis, which was obviously like one of the first big events or one of the first early events for Smash 4. And I was like kind of big, like as it was starting to get its feet wet. And then the North, I'm not really sure when Unrivaled came around. I don't know if they were like later into the game's life, but they kind of run a lot of the stuff in the Midwest and like up north for the most part. And then in the South, you have like to be honest, I'm not totally sure how that goes because Texas is kind of its own like.
Yeah. I know Tourney Locator, like I believe they were around since like pretty much towards the beginning of Smash 4's life.
Yep.
And then there's then there's MVG too, which is Mewtwo King's thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's essentially South Florida.
Yeah, and what's actually and now if you look at it now, like not even just every region, every state for the most part has like, or I guess every region too, every state for the most part is kind of stretching it, but every state will probably have at least like one stream. Like it might not be like it might not have like stage lights or anything crazy, but it's still a stream. And now every region will have like 2 or 3 like really good streams because like you look at the West Coast now and like 2GG still around and Showdown's still around and Fire and Dice was a really big local they had out there for a while. And the Midwest has Unrivaled and Gucci and
they have Hit Point now too.
Yeah, and Hit Point. So just to kind of see how like the up and up has come, because people have to obviously have worked for those spots. And what's really cool is that every tournament kind of brings something a little bit different to the table, or like every production staff does. Because as somebody that like works a lot on these, on the bigger events, I get to work with a lot of the big regions like stream teams. And I can say that like I can't say I've had like the same experience twice because I have, because most of the time I'm working with the same people a lot. But the experience is always different depending on who's in charge. And I think it's really cool because it keeps things fresh it keeps people from having a monopoly or like a chokehold on the scene, even though there's obviously, a pecking order. But, even like the secondary streams for a tournament are almost just as important as the first ones. And I think that's really, really important, just kind of moving forward in the thing. So it's really cool to see how that's really changed.
I think that's sort of Grassroots in a nutshell. So you obviously have your origin point, and then that's like your seed sprout, and then it continues to sprout from there. And something of a competitive nature, such as Smash Brothers or any other sport, really, you need to if you want to build an audience and you want to build a pool of players, you kind of need these things, like these tools to broadcast your community. And that's the kind of the case for a lot of reasons, because when you see the bigger stages open up and some of the things that do become kind of like, as you mentioned, the pecking order, kind of the popular ones that maybe do pick up like a Nintendo sponsorship, for example. I know like Frostbite gets that. I believe Shine gets sponsored by Nintendo. Like all those landmark areas, and they kind of vary per region. Then it kind of ensures that the infrastructure is already there and that like the user base is already there. So it becomes less of like a big deal for people to travel there, and instead you have your locals that have already been kind of working on a local level to attend their own tournaments that are like, oh wow, here's the big event for our area right now, we can go to this. And I think that's actually super important to have, because it's the same thing with like football. Like I remember being a kid and playing like Pop Warner football. You play football and then you basically go home after your game and you watch the pros play. You go home and you watch like Sunday like football, just like with your family or whatever. And you just think like, okay, this is so cool. Like I want to do this when I get older, or, wow, I never knew like you could do these things, but like it very much mirrors the same things. So, I mean, maybe an unpopular opinion, but like, I do think like growing essentially the streams in all areas and ultimately the events available in all areas should happen as much as people are going to attend. And that's simply just because you want to get people involved. and you want to get people kind of interested and understanding the whole thing. Because as you mentioned, like your locals when you were in Brawl, those were essentially like fests. And for anyone watching who doesn't know what a fest is, it's when you hang out with your friends and play like a copious amount of Smash Brothers and other video games, like hours on end. And you get better. 2, you get to hang out with your buds, and 3, like it's just overall fun, more fun than doing it on your own.
And for those of you that don't know what friends are, look it up.
But yeah, so that's essentially how Grassroots works. I mean, you have an idea, people like the idea, you might see it in one region, and you say, hey, wow, this looks really cool, I would like to see that in my region, and then you do it. But
just really quick, Chris, as you're talking about that, just kind of like going to different regions and seeing stuff, we didn't get to talk to Biddy last week, and he actually went to Texas and started talking about like how the team down there ran things. So I know you said you saw a couple of cool things over there.
Yeah, I was down the other week. I was down in Texas for a regional, and the area we were in, the place we were in, the place itself wasn't as as big or anything, but the way that they ran the tournament, yeah, they were definitely. Everyone had like walkie-talkies. They had multiple security guards. Did not really have much of a Grassroots-esque feel. Yeah, no, it was definitely.
What tournament was that? I missed.
Super Smash Fight Club 4.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
SSFC 4. Yeah.
Insert Brad Pitt joke.
I thought we're not supposed to talk about that.
Right. No, but like
that's
every
when you
time...
see your buddy's like, Super Smash. You didn't want to talk about it.
I don't know why. I couldn't like think of the name at first. I just knew it as SSFC, but.
Dude, he's right there. He's watching him. This is gonna break your head open.
But so yeah, it definitely like didn't have the aspects that you would like. Literally back in the day, tournaments would be like, I mean, even like locals nowadays, you would be like, oh, like just go play that guy over there. I mean, there was tournaments back then where like there were some tournaments I went to that there really like wasn't even a TL. It's just everyone like looked at the bracket and then found each other and then you played.
That sounds like an MHD event.
Yeah.
Oh god, you have to play this. But yeah, no, like when we were going the stream setup, there was like a separate guy that came up to me, and like in this match, a separate guy came up to Ned, be like, "You're a player this, you're a player this," and then they'll be like, "Wait for our signal," and then I'm like, "Okay, this is like a lot," but I go off.
Shoot a flare.
I didn't know if they were gonna have me read a script or something, but
yeah, you have to do the Mario Kart Turbo boost in real life.
They give you like a series of like signals, and it's like stealing bases. It's like you have to do a few so people don't know what the real signal is, but then they get like the real one when you put it in between all the fake ones.
Yeah,
and then they start.
And if I clap, you start on Lilat.
Precisely. Yeah. Who needs like stage select striking on your stream overlay?
And they even went to the lengths of like, it was weird. They had like taping on the ground to like mark where you were sitting, and they tried to like make you like sit in that, like stay in that area. Like we were doing doubles, like me and Jen, and I moved the seat over, and they were like, no, you have to move the seat back this way a little bit. I'm like, all right.
Well, they
like trash.
Yeah. Well, they also did that at Shine, because I'm gonna leave this person anonymous because I don't want to roast them any further than I did. But a certain friend of ours,
a certain carried player.
Yeah, a certain very carried player / friend of ours. He accidentally moved his seat back too far, and he fell off the side stream stage. So they had to.
Oh no!
His name rhymes with Bizwan.
Yeah, it's Glenn. But yeah, that happened. So they had to like mark off like the point of no return on the stage, and it was really funny.
Yeah, I mean that's not his fault. That should have been like that shouldn't have been. I remember Chris at Smash Quest. I actually was like, the tables. This is maybe Smash Quest, the one I did the video for, Smash Quest 3.
Yeah,
I think, or 2. And
the
table's too far forward. And I literally told you, I was like, yo, like, you better move these up because this thing's really close to the edge. And go figure. I made that mistake at one point.
Yeah. To be honest, I only like joked about it until after I found out he was okay, because I like legitimately had like my heart like fell out of my chest. I'm just like, oh shit. It's only
Yeah.
we've only been here for 20 minutes and already this happened. But yeah, that's just know the dimensions of your stage, y'all. It's very important. Get smaller tables or bigger players. I don't know.
Well, yeah. So that raises an interesting point, as Biddy mentioned that the regional he was at didn't really have a grassroots feel. But so what with Glitch behind us this past weekend, which had VG Boot Camp, like that was in Xanadu, which Koopa you already mentioned is like this very beautiful facility that they upgraded from like kind of like a not beautiful facility not that long ago, and
Yeah.
it sort of makes you wonder like. At what point does grassroots no longer become grassroots, or is it always grassroots, or how does that work?
Um, it's kind of weird because the line is like the production. It's like I said, like everything about the concept of a tournament being grassroots has kind of been like bumped up because like Biddy's didn't even go to he didn't go to like a national or like a major tournament. He went to a Texas regional that just happened to have the funds to fly out a bunch of really good players. So I feel like the bar has been set like really, really high for a lot of these smaller tournaments because like obviously like you looked at Glitch, they were able to get Lima to come out again. And the Glitch before that they had Captain Zach and and uh and Mistake come out, and then they also had Gluttony and some European players come out this time. So
And
I think the line for grassroots has definitely been like upped a little bit if you live in one of those bigger regions because like obviously like a Jersey grassroots is going to be like, oh, if we can get like I don't know, like the top 5 of the Tri-States PR to show up or whatever, and like one good player
yeah,
from out of region,
everyone's excited. Yeah.
yeah, or like a tournament like VG Boot Camp or like 2GG, like they kind of painted themselves into a corner where like when they have to go above and beyond for something like a regional like that, then um, I'd say more for like MDVA. This is kind of the case for Glitches versus like SoCal because they kind of have a lot of the talent base over there anyway. But like for Glitch, they've always done really good at like getting some of the recognizable like out of region talent like there. Like even going back to the one that Mr. E won, like uh, they've always been like really good about that. So I feel like the line for grassroots is kind of gray right now because a lot of the bigger regions have the same like production value, or like it's just a matter of like the player base or like what
Just
else you kind of offer to the table, I guess.
the overall visibility. It's just not really uniform,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really outside of the namesakes and the brands, and this is most things. The branding is very important, and VG Bootcamp did have essentially they were the first in, and that was sort of a thing that allows them to make the connection. So having a stream that gets a lot of viewership, and you upgraded to a nice facility. It's funny because I was watching the commentary, which had TK on it, and it also had Coney, and they were bantering a lot. Like, and honestly, it was a lot of fun to listen to. It was really cool because it wasn't quite esportsy, but yet, VG Bootcamps is sort of setting the baseline for esports. Like, it's theirs to set as they do all the bigger tournaments. But then, like, you watch a
Right.
regional like that, and they're kind of goofing around, and I think that's great, and that's essentially a grassroots feel. So, like, for them, they are still basically grassroots. Like, they haven't hit it big in a point where they have, like, a massive sponsorship behind them either. They've just done well enough where they've used their momentum to build up a sustainable, like place, So it's interesting. And I'm not sure how to really solve that issue. So it's like you have one overly developed area, and what they did this time around for Glitch 5 I thought was pretty cool is they had House of 3000, New York City's premier streamer essentially as the side stream, and they did a lot of the Smash 4 streaming because they also did have arms at Glitch. They had a few other things, but House kind of held it down as far as the stream goes. And in general, like that's just pretty good because not only does that help like get House a little bit more recognizable and a little bit more exposure for people who might not recognize them, but like it also had players that any fans of House of 3000 would know. Like for example, the Tri-State players there, and many of them playing very well. Like you had Juice was top 8. You had Ralphie was top 8. Mr. E got second. So it's like it had people there, and these are all players that House's, stream fans would know by now. So like you start seeing the crossover. But like in itself though, it's like that's all still very grassroots too. But like I guess in the wake of all this, we did see an announcement from ELEAGUE where they're going to be teaming up with Nintendo for Smash Ultimate, which can sort of change the landscape for some of this.
Yeah, do any of you guys like watch the E-League stuff on TBS?
No,
I've seen
I
some of it.
I've only seen the low tier God clips. When he was on the reality show thing. That was hilarious. Mentally untouched.
Yeah, I've never gone out of my way to watch it. It was kind of one of those things where like I'd come home from like the bar at 12:30 at night, and I'd turn on TBS,
Exactly.
and it just happened to be showing Counter-Strike, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. But it honest to God is really cool. Like the little bits that I've seen, like I've watched a little bit of the Street Fighter stuff, and whatnot, and I've also watched like and I know Disney XD does some casual esports stuff as well, and honestly, I think it's a big deal. Like people apparently seem like the E-League apparently has a lot of viewership because it's continuing to stay on, even despite the fact that I forget that it exists a lot of the time.
Well, so they break into that mainstream, and the funny thing about this is we actually discussed this, like kind of not the last podcast, but the two before, where we had mentioned, the episode sponsored by no one. I believe that was episode 3 or 4, and then the episode about crowdfunding, and
Right.
Like we've sort of talked about this, and I do think that there's a lot of positive that can come out of this. I could sort of see some people. Maybe like especially a lot of the people who are responsible for Grassroots, maybe it's a little intimidating. You see like essentially this whole ELEAGUE brand, which it's funny if you go to the website, it basically says this is like an esports brand. Like that's like the mission statement. Like it's very just flat. But you think about it, TV, like I don't even watch cable much, and I feel like a lot of our generation, like the younger generation, doesn't really watch cable. Everything gets streamed or, including things like YouTube and Twitch and just like even Netflix and Hulu. Like TV isn't as popular. Or
Yeah, shout out to jailbreaking that Fire Stick.
yeah, or a jailbroken Fire Stick, man. So the funny thing is like this is bridging it though. So like, this is like when you're explaining to your parents what you're doing on the weekends and what it can turn into. This is what that does, because they're like, oh wow, this is professional video games being played on TV. Wow, it's on TV. It's legit. So regardless of how different it really is, being broadcasted on ELEAGUE or being broadcasted on like VG Bootcamp or even something like MHG is like irrelevant. But like the fact that it gets in the possible visible eyes of like an audience that goes way beyond just its niche audience is kind of its value. So I think like kind of moving forward, this is sort of going to be your thing. Like you have like your PGR and your big personalities that have developed, and these are going to be the people you see push through the ELEAGUE. But as time moves on, I do think that there's a lot of room still for the Grassroots to grow in and sort of the players to find an identity elsewhere. So that way it's like people could see you coming home late night from a bar drunk and just like, wow, like video games on TV. And then, piece it together one day when they turn on Twitch at, of maybe like a local tournament they go to and think, oh, wow, I saw this guy on that bigger broadcast. And then all of a sudden that's how it starts to grow. That's when you start to see some of the personalities develop outside of just Smash, and when they start to become more recognizable. But that's sort of the link. So regardless of who it involves or what it involves, I would say it's a good thing, and it's because it's going through essentially an ELEAGUE, which probably has more money and sponsorships behind it than like every possible stream put together times like several hundreds. That's essentially where corporate comes in. So it is kind of funny because something like that transcends even a VG Bootcamp, which is kind of like the founder of Smash Media,
Yeah, and even though it's like it's nothing crazy, if you haven't seen the news, they're basically just rebroadcasting the E3 Invitational. So,
Yes.
If you didn't get a chance to watch it, I'd highly recommend it. I hope they show all like the side stuff and not just the main tournament stuff, because I'm trying to watch Nairo shit on celebrities again. like with my parents.
I feel like that's the whole idea, though. I think that's like what they're trying to do. Because then it becomes a little bit like reality TV, and we know, especially in America, like we love reality TV, man. No matter what it's about.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of in my mind where all this is headed. And like I don't want to get off track, but part of the whole like, and I think I saw a tweet about this, like supporting your locals and going to your locals. It's not necessarily just for like the money and like development, even though as much as someone like me would like to believe that's what it is. It's also just kind of creating the experience where, a parent feels good about dropping their kids off at a tournament, thinking like, okay, my son or daughter might make some friends here, or, this kid looks like maybe he would be shy, but he's obviously having a lot of fun in this context. Like that's like the stuff that doesn't really get discussed because it's a little floofy and corny, but like that's pretty real stuff. Like if you're a parent, like if your kid can't play football, like physically, just whatever, just can't do it, they get to go play video games. And this is at like some pretty developmental ages too, where this is happening.
Yeah, so the next time that Law drops off Jack at a tournament, he can feel comfortable that he's going to make some friends. So
Yeah. It's just a little... Last time, I got to remember his Go-Gurt next time.
Yeah, dude, he's going to get cranky, he's going to play bad, and you're going to hear about it later.
Yeah. Son's not being so salty.
Go to your room and think about that, SD.
Stop jabbing at Ledge.
But so yeah, this is kind of what this all looks like at face value, really. And I just to drive home the point, there's not any real structure for this stuff. ELEAGUE is picking up Smash, and they're going to be working with Nintendo on it. And I'm pretty sure that all of the tournaments that have been raised grassroots that Nintendo already sponsors, they'll probably just go on like a bigger stage. And then like all the other stuff is going to continue to develop as it develops. Like it's really just going to be like essentially I would hope and I would think more viewership for everyone and just sort of more recognizability for everyone, more exposure,
I'll never forget when I went to Frostbite and the stream runner was briefing me. He's like, "All right, so since we're Nintendo sponsored, I need you to keep it family friendly." And not even 5 minutes into the broadcast, I think I said like damn or something like that. Or like I said like a not good word, and I'm like, wait, should I have not said that?
Oh man, that's the worst. And then you have to like think for the next like minute straight about if you shouldn't have said that, and then you just kind of forget that you're like commentating.
Yeah, it's like or like I love what Coney does. Like he opens up the stream, he's just like, "Sup, bitches." It's like it fucking kills me every time.
So I think there's still places for that moving forward, especially if ELEAGUE does sort of take over and all these crazy things happen that maybe don't involve what we thought would be involved. But like, yeah, there's and it's just the same with anything else, right? So it's like you have like professional football, you have college football, high school, then you have like Pop Warner, then you have like recreational. Like it's all of esports, if it's done correctly, in my mind, and if people are actually down to like work together, are just gonna mirror that. Like it's just gonna be as simple as that. So it's like the NCAA has their own stuff, and then like the NFL has their own stuff, and then like your local dad who coaches a Pop Warner team has his own stuff. It's just goes from there.
Yeah, the NCAA is like the Brawl minus community in regards to the big sports because they got a lot of problems going on over there.
Brawl minus?
No, just
or NCAA.
No, the NCAA is a fucking cesspool.
Oh man, it is. That's like a whole topic that I guess doesn't fit a gaming podcast, but yeah, essentially.
Yeah, literally, if you want to hear like a story of corruption and deceit. That's not like a fucking like mid-2000s action movie or something like that, then like just like read up on like the NCAA lawsuits over the last like 5 or 6 years. It's a fucking trip.
Yeah, it is kind of a trip, and there's actually like some kind of dark scenarios within all of that in terms of like, yeah, we won't get into detail, but maybe something to keep in mind later. We can make a topic out of it, but so yeah. This entire conversation did get sparked off a glitch, and I do want to kind of jump towards that now as a way to kind of go towards the tourney recap for the weekend, and glitch was the main one. I mean, I watched a lot of this tournament. It was pretty enjoyable, And if not,
Mhm.
like most other tournaments you watch on a weekend, in either case, like it was a lot of fun, and it did feature a lot of the players that we see in the Tri-State on a regular basis. I'll pull up the top 8, but if one of you guys wants to take it away, go for it.
Yeah, the top 8 for Glitch. What was it? First was Nima. Second was Mr. E. Third was Gluttony. Fourth was drawing a blank.
Pink Fresh.
Pink Fresh, yes. Fifth was Dark Wizzy and
Juice.
Juice. Yep.
Yeah,
And seventh was Waddy and
Damn.
Ralphie.
Waddy
Yes.
got bodied.
Yeah.
Wow, that
Yeah.
rhymes.
Yeah, no, he was literally up 2-0, and I think had a lead game 3, and then just lost his jump when he thought he had it and SD'd, and then Juice just first 3 on him.
Well, if you look
Good
at
to hear.
this, even top 13, you'll see a lot of familiar names that transcend MDVA, which is kind of the most recognizable region for reasons that we've discussed in the past like 40 minutes here. But yeah, you're seeing a lot of what is called Tri-State, which is in reality 3 different states that kind of have their own identity here. Because like right now, you'll see Juice from Philly coming in 5th. You'll see Mr. E coming in 2nd from New York. Dark Wizzy, well, he's New York too, right?
Yeah, he's like the capital region, Albany area of New York, but yes, he's still New York.
Yep, Ralphie, New York, Jen, New York, people showing up, Frozen, New York, and the coolest part about this is you're seeing actually these are all like, well, aside from Mr. E and Dark Wizzy, these are like House of 3000 players with House being the home stream. I have like this theory where it's like if you have presence of your stream in an area or even just like people cheering you on, like I feel like that like makes some kind of difference. Like you get some kind of weird like non-tangible level up.
I believe they call that Big Brother.
Yeah, man. I mean that might be it, but in either case,
They
we're
They
seeing
made
it.
a couple movies about that once.
So it's cool too because like I'm seeing even File here. I've seen him in Discord Smash Files. He runs he's in 9th place here if you're looking at the screen, but he's
Yeah.
MDVA guy, and I believe he runs a series in Virginia that VG Bootcamp might even help him out with at least for a stream. And it's the Mason versus series.
Yeah.
Yeah, he runs the Mason Versus series, which is they've done like at least last year they had like a circuit where they had like invitational tournaments, and they did one for Mr. E. They did one for Barnes, or
Yeah,
the
they
artist
did.
formerly known as the artist formerly known as Big Dick Billy, and he beat Juice in a matchup that I'd imagine is like very, very bad for Bowser.
Dude, this is exactly where I was going with it. So it's funny for me to think about these things where it's like, okay, so you have Juice as an invader in MDVA going against like what I actually know as a recognizable like figure in MDVA, mostly from a tournament like an organizer aspect. And it's kind of like I was watching the chat as it was going on. Obviously, you have Tri-State coming out, always supporting. And then you have like people for Files like, yo, bro, like this is your territory. You can't lose, da-da-da-da-da. And then like even on a Tri-State like stream, he ends up coming out with like a really tight win, like a good win at that.
Indeed.
Yeah, who let the dogs out?
I didn't watch this. Juice lost this?
That's definitely not.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
skip to the end. It was a pretty close game 3.
So far, what is he doing? Oh my, wow.
Yeah, it was stressful, man. The whole set too, because like he was kind of dominating the game, and then like obviously Bowser pivot grab has crazy range, and
Yeah.
Everything else that follows that. So
I would hate fighting Bowser if I didn't have a bunch of projectiles.
yeah,
It's
maybe.
like stay as far away from me as humanly possible, please.
Yeah, that's what's great about it, is because I can make. But yeah,
But
Yeah, I mean,
this will be
how
a
are you not
learning
gonna-
experience for him. So
Bro. It's learning.
I
Let me
mean,
just eat
I
these
actually want
kids
to see how he
something.
dies.
I'm pretty sure he just tries a landing nair in his shield. It would landing nair, gets shielded, and grabs.
you'll
like,
see it in a
oh,
moment.
oh nope. Almost.
Anyone watching live already saw it, but
Like power shields in there.
You just run forward and grab for free. What is he going to do? Jump?
Cry.
You see him stand up like he knew he messed up.
Oh my god.
yeah, it was a bad way to go. But he made his losers run. He made some fans that day. It was a rough outing.
Hey! If he beat File, he might not have gotten to play and gotten the win on Wadi. So
And
That's true.
You're right,
And
man.
also, like something that commonly happens is that you'll see someone get upset and then they'll immediately like eat shit like afterwards. But like File also got ninth, and I think he beat one of the invited players also.
Yeah, he beat a Super Semi who's the Mario. He's ranked 13th in Europe. So
Chocolat Bleu.
Yeah, he came to play, man. And while we're at it here, because this kind of wait, what's up, Biddy?
No, you go.
Now, I was gonna say is while we're on it is Mr. E getting second, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because he just won Xeno the week before last Wednesday, and I don't know what happened to the Aeon brackets, but like I literally can't find them anymore. All the old links are dead now, so I can't tell you who won Aeon this past Friday, but it's possible he did because he's always top 3.
Sorry, Chris, but before we get into the local stuff, I feel we should also mention the other big event that happened.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely gonna get that. Yeah, because
okay,
this is a really cool event. I just figured while we're on Glitch still.
Okay, no, I wasn't sure if that was you transitioning.
No, it's a good call.
You go on.
Well, that was basically it. Essentially, is like Mr. I just wanted to basically mention that 2 of the players, from Xeno last Wednesday. That Mr. E got first, or got first last Xeno, and then got second at Glitch. Ralphie got third last Xeno, got 7th at Glitch. Like these guys they're coming out there, man, and it's really making a case for Xeno being a really strong weekly. But yeah, I don't want to skip over Rickles hit point tournaments. They had a pretty big event themselves, and as far as Grassroots goes, these guys are Grassroots in themselves, and the coolest part is they're doing this underneath what is already an established region in Unrivaled and even Gucci. Like there's a lot of presence out there, but there's also just a lot of players there too. So we saw a pretty good turnout for Retro Arena, which looked like a really cool tournament. It even had Elegant there and some other guys. I know Sinji was out there. I don't think he did the best, but he was out there. And a Mega Man almost won, which is cool.
Yeah, Yeti, who he pulled he did really well. I don't think people expected him to be in the top 2, let alone be second set, game 5 versus Elegant, 3-0ing him in the first set. And he also beats Ned, Zenodo, and 8-Bit Man along the way. So he definitely it was definitely a shock.
Well, the coolest part about Yeti is he's a local guy too. Like that's another thing. It's just like he was essentially the defense line from the Invader, which was Elegant.
Yeah, I thought he's from Minnesota.
Is he?
He is Minnesota. Yeah.
Okay, I think I just knew that. I think I've seen him at one of the other hit point tournaments. And I just kind of thought.
I feel like everyone in the Midwest like kind of frequents everything, unless you live in like Wisconsin or something.
Yeah.
Or because I think Wisconsin just sends Pow Pow as a representative for like the entire state, like wherever they go somewhere. But this is really cool, man.
Yeah, and this is a big tournament that wouldn't have happened because I know Unrivaled dialed down a little bit. Gushi's always grinding out tournaments. They're a really great stream for anyone looking for Gushi gaming.
Yeah.
Yo, Gushi's great, man. That's my dog. I love that guy.
I'm pretty sure Gushi streamed this tournament.
Yeah,
too.
He did. Yep, that VOD that we were just watching, that is on Gushi's channel.
Yeah, which is cool because Gushi originates in Michigan. The tournament took place in Illinois, so they got that close connection there.
Yeah.
And there was a need. There was a good spot for this tournament. I think it had 100 and did it hit 150?
I think it did. Yeah, 161.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there, which is really that's cool.
And they all got bodied by Mega Man.
Yeah,
wild.
Mega Man.
And also another thing, the venue I only heard really good things about.
I heard the venue was amazing.
Level 257. It's like an old school gaming / Pac-Man styled cafe / I'm pretty sure it's like a cafe.
I'm pretty sure you're right. I saw some stuff about it. Looks like a really cool spot.
Yeah, it's like a restaurant / cafe. It's located at the largest mall in Illinois. So, which is pretty awesome. And I'm just on the homepage seeing pictures of it. They have this giant size model of a Pac-Man, which is pretty sick.
Yeah, dude, I saw a lot of. It looks like the Pac-Man from Pixels. I'll get a picture of that.
No, I didn't want.
It does.
James's favorite
No.
movie.
Bro, I was literally just about to say, like, hope you didn't see Adam Sandler. And then all of a
Yeah, I hope
sudden,
you didn't. I hope you didn't see Hubert turning into a woman.
Dude, the venue had bowling lanes too. There's been multiple venues in the Midwest that is either in a bowling alley or had bowling lanes.
Dude,
It's like it's fucking crazy. It's so funny how.
I kind of wish that they had like Rob Schneider there for commentary, or like one of those guys that you always see on like the Happy Madison productions, which doesn't quite.
Yeah, fucking David Spade.
Yeah, like yeah, David Spade dressed up as a janitor with a mullet
Yeah.
in the
No,
background.
it's just Adam Sandler and Kevin James slow dancing dressed as fruit.
Oh my god, dude.
Chat, let us know below what your favorite Happy Madison production movie is.
Man, I remember when that was like a seal of approval. Like you would see it, you're like, oh yeah, like Happy Madison, this is gonna be great. And I don't know at what point like that seal of approval just like lost all meaning, but like it did.
Yeah, well, maybe Adam Sandler rests in somewhere, or rests on Netflix, I guess, because I know he has a movie on there now.
Rest of Netflix is actually the best, yeah, because he has everything of his on Netflix. I guess they just decided someone there is a big Adam Sandler fan.
Yeah.
someone
My
there needs
answer's
to kill
happy.
themselves.
My answer's Happy Gilmore. I love that movie. Movie's great.
Oh yeah, that's a classic, dude.
Yeah.
It started to go downhill after Big Daddy, but yeah, we get off Adam Sandler here. Oh my god, this place looks amazing. I'm just scrolling through. I see like sushi rolls and like martinis, a full bar. Look at all those arcade cabinets. You guys will see this in a minute.
Dude,
this is really cool spot.
Their giant Pac-Man should fight the PSS wall art.
Oh, God.
And
Oh
whoever
my
wins
god, dude! What
is
if
superior.
he'd need a power pellet? He
Yeah.
can't.
No,
Otherwise,
he
he's done.
No, he need one of those guns that Adam Sandler had in Pixels or whatever. I actually forget how they like. I've like burnt out that movie from my memory, and I like forget how the actual conflict is solved. But yeah, this looks really cool, and I do really enjoy it when other tournaments like kind of reach outside the box and go for different venues, because I think that kind of speaks for the Midwest's craftiness. Is that like they're obviously not afraid to host a tournament anywhere. I feel like they'll like Vinny said, like I've been to multiple tournaments in the Midwest that have been hosted in like college halls and like bowling alleys.
Well, let's see. They have this place which is like really nice, and then they host out of a water park that's unrivaled, right? Smash and Splash, and then where's Frostbite?
Frostbite is Michigan.
Okay, but like what kind of venue?
It's
a
a
hotel.
It's a hotel,
Okay,
but it's
okay.
probably like the nicest like hotel tournament like out there. Like they always have like they don't have disappointing venues. Even like the locals, even the local like, tournaments. It's crazy.
No disappointing tournaments, only disappointing weather.
Ain't that the truth? But all right. So what do we have next? Is I wanted to bring this up. This is probably one of the more notable things to happen this weekend, at least in Tri-State Smash, was Juice out of town in Glitch, getting 7th there. But while he was gone, Yoda Cage keeping Philly safe from some New Jersey players. Dark Matter actually got 2nd at this tournament, and Bryce got 3rd. Apparently taking out Why Do Bad Things Happen, which who won Bears last week. And then, you'll see some of the Philly guys start to come in around like 5th, 7th, 9th place and all that. But strong showing for Jersey this weekend, at least in Philly, anyways.
Yeah, and Philly players getting there first. I'm pretty so like last week, Bad Things won, right? And that was his first.
Yeah, that was his first win over Juice, I think, in like 12 grand sets.
Yeah, and Yoda Cage, like this previous one, got his first Bears win ever. So. Which
is pretty great, dude, because the odds were looking bad against him in terms of like who he had to play, but yeah, he didn't lose a set.
And who his main is.
Yeah, and he's a Bowser Jr. main, so.
Oh yeah.
Fun facts for anyone who did not know that.
Yeah. I can't believe 3 low tier characters made it in the top 3. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude, this is that's very true.
What
is that? What is that?
I'll agree with that statement.
Ugh. And then I mean, I know Sprunk plays a lot of Cloud these days, but he even uses Yoshi. What was this tournament?
He's a Cloud main now.
Is he basically? Yeah, I guess probably.
And Bad Things has a Pac-Man.
Yeah, for the bad matchups, like James.
Damn.
Yeah, that's right. He did take that set off of James. We can't forget that.
I'm sorry, I have the balls to like lose 2 games as Cloud, then switch to Pac-Man game 5 and win that.
Yeah,
Got big nuts. All right.
yeah. That's like textbook nuts. My nuts are huge.
But as I did mention, actually, before I get off the topic of Philly, this weekend, Philly, the guys at Bros Calamity are actually hosting like a circuit leading into the Northeast Championships coming up for Ultimate, which I think that's December 13th or the second weekend in December. But anyways, Platinum Star is essentially on that circuit, so we will see some of Philly showing up there, including Stu the announcer, who I don't know if you guys know Stu the announcer, but like,
Oh, nice.
yeah, dude,
Yeah,
that'll be fun. He's pretty fun. He seems like a cool dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Funniest match I've ever seen in my life.
I knew you were just laughing though. At that.
Dude, it's like 2 McDonald's toys like that keep like hitting each other.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, man.
It's Toy Story.
So this was
It's like
Yo, Dark Matter has
Woody in the webcam.
Cloud walks into the room. They just drop it on the floor.
yeah. I was gonna say this.
Yoda
I
has
was gonna
Andy
say-
written on his shoe.
Yeah. I guess this is the ending that Tim Allen was talking about when he said that it made him weep when he finished filming Toy Story 4. So crazy. Can't believe Dark Matter's Dark Matter is definitely voiced by John Ratzenberg in a Pixar movie. Like, he's definitely the cameo.
Oh,
Wait, was it Russian mode that Buzz had in the movie, or was it like Italian mode or something? In Toy
Spanish
Story-
mode.
Spanish mode.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude, where he's just talking lots of Spanish. Yeah, because
Yeah.
wasn't he picking up like another toy like because he was speaking in Spanish or something? I don't know.
No, so they as an expert on Toy Story 3, they basically Buzz like basically sees the toys like plotting something, and then when they catch him, they factory reset him, and then when the toys try to like turn him back into normal, they hold the button down too long and his reset button, and it turns them into Spanish, which is honestly fucking hilarious.
That's brilliant.
I love every. That's like
That's pretty brilliant.
Buzz Lightyear. Yeah, Buzz Lightyear out of Rescate. Fantastic.
Well, all right. So moving on into some New Jersey stuff before we get into the Smash, the very first Stock Advantage Monthly. There was a Spectrum yesterday, which hey, Dark Matter got second at again, and spoiler alert, the Great Gonzalez takes first with a display of a crusty Bayonetta, but we got to see it. Actually, I think the first match of Grand Finals was Gonza's Bayo versus Dark Matter's Bowser. And
Yikes.
and the craziest part about that is Dark Matter's Bayo prevailed, and Gons went back to Ness, and then it turned into
Say that again.
Wait.
What?
Yeah. I gotta find it. But okay, so basically, Gons beat Dark Matter in winners finals. So he saw him again
With Bayoness, right?
Yeah, whatever. Regardless, so Grands started off with Bayonetta versus Bowser. Dark Matter was Bowser, Gons was Bayo, and Gons lost to Dark Matter's Bowser.
The whole set.
No. Just the first game.
Okay.
and then he just went Ness, and then he beat Dark Matter, and then I think they went Nestados.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
I thought you said at one point that Dark Matters.
I thought,
Hey, yo,
I thought you said Dark Matter.
yeah, my
That's
bad.
what I'm saying, what?
Wait, what did you think I said?
You said
No.
before, you said Dark Matter won with Bayo.
Oh, no. He won with Bowser. Yo, my bad. I can't even picture
I need
that.
to watch that.
Bro, there's like
I was.
no, you're like so like you know how in Mario Odyssey they had like the dark and darkest side of the moon. Like Dark Matter winning a tournament with Bayo is like the darkest setting of that.
Oh my god.
Bad future.
Uh,
I'm trying to
That's
find
funny.
this. I think I may have found it. Nope, that's not it. Trying to look through. I guess it's not that. Oh, there we go. I found it. Let's see here. Just for lulz, as we move on, we can just talk about this. All right.
I kind of watched when he says Great Gonzalez Bayo versus Paw Claw Little Mac. It's always fun. Like, for some reason, Gons versus low tier is always the funniest thing.
Oh wait, hold
Dude,
on. What happened? Okay, I guess he lost game 2. I thought it was game 1. Hold on, let me fast forward. What
does
happened
this
here?
tag say? I can't even read that.
Okay, it was game 2.
My cloud.
Oh my
I got carried to the top.
All right, there we go.
My cloud bad.
Yeah, my cloud bad. That's what it says. That's what it says.
Okay.
Wow. Same.
Yeah, but
I got nothing.
this set was
I literally
actually
have nothing.
as far as like sets go. and
Why are we still laughing?
I don't because this is pretty funny actually. Hold on, I just want to watch Gons get. All right, there we go. You guys will see that in a second.
Oh my god, good tech.
Oh shit! What the fuck,
Too funny, man.
bro?
That's it.
All I need is like the.
Oh, actually, hold on. I'm gonna go back to this just because this is so good because the next game lasts like 10 seconds. Gons just counterpicks Ness and then like just does. They go to Smashville. Oh my god, it really is like 10 seconds. Oh, never mind. Hold on. Let's see what actually happens here. Or did Dark Matter just retire? What?
Is this just
Oh, never mind. Oh, okay, never mind. That must have been Winners Finals I was thinking of because there was one point where I saw Gons play against, I think it was Dark Matter's Bowser, and he just like took his first stock, like just with the platform on the left side of the screen, just like forward throw Ness. But anyways, all right, that's enough of that.
Dude, I need that whole set, but with the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme song playing in the
Oh
background.
my god, yes.
God.
Yeah, I mean the
that's
set
like-
turned into a slobber knocker after that, just button mashing and all kinds of ridiculous stuff. But
It's pain and suffering for everybody.
Depression.
it didn't have any commentary. The commentator's like, "Oh, all right, we're good." I'm pretty sure it was Maverick Hunter. He's just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna dip."
He's like blinking. He's blinking rapidly to let everyone know he's being held hostage.
Yeah, man. But so we did have another New Jersey event this past weekend, and that was Stock Advantage, which was the first of its kind, which is a North Jersey monthly. And I gotta say, pretty happy with the venue. I thought it was a pretty cool spot, and we did get a New York player who's actually technically from New Jersey, but you know who's really tracking this anyways. Who did win, and that is T2 Odyssey taking out Angel and Grands. And
yeah, he flexed and also brought his girlfriend and then flexed harder.
That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
he really did flex, man. Like it was a small bracket. It was a 22-man bracket, but it was pretty dense. Angel was there, and then he had like a few of the PR Jersey guys, like Hungary was there, Unknown was there. Maverick Hunter was there, who actually got 4th. Had some really, really good wins. PR wins at that.
Yeah, he beat Angel in winners quarters, and then he beat Brian or Unknown in losers quarters.
Yeah, so that's 6th and 13th on the PR in one tournament. And monthlies, for anyone who is unaware in New Jersey, they do count more for you as far as the PR goes. So Mav coming off to a pretty strong start for his PR campaign this season.
We're like halfway through the season now, aren't we?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I
No,
guess. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess
yeah,
so. Like a
yeah,
month in,
starting
right?
No, 2 months. Starting August.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess
Yeah,
it's
that's
over
right.
December 1st.
Because our season's a little bit awkward because we
Yeah.
wanted to line it up with
Body getting
December.
fucked up this annually, what?
Body bag.
But then
Dude.
He may win this game. I kind of forget.
No, he definitely
or-
does.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he does because I think he sort of beat up Angel pretty good.
No, Angel only wins the game where Odyssey Odyssey only lost games where he went at secondaries. So
Yeah, I think we saw Mario in there.
yeah.
Every
He
time I
went,
see...
he,
I'm sorry, you go.
no, I was gonna say he went Mario against BD Bean and then beat him, and then he went like Bayo one game against Hungary and lost, and then he went Mario one game against Angel and also lost. So
What you're telling me is he's carried.
probably carried by Fox, carried by his height, carried by his girlfriend.
He is
Like,
actually
this
he is
wasn't-
pretty tall. I forgot about that.
Oh,
Bro,
he's super
he's like
tall.
17. Fucking crazy.
Yeah, dude, it is crazy. He's a tall boy, definitely eating his vegetables or
His
whatever.
father definitely tried getting him to play basketball.
But for
Yeah.
anyone who is interested in this tournament, it's going to be every last Sunday of the month, and the winners for the next 2 months, and actually this previous winner, will get free venue to Let's Make Moves, which is Max's event with EMG in I forget where in New Jersey. It's like Somerset.
It's in it's in Somerset. It's at the old Qatar venue. So
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
but wait, like the office building one?
No, the gym.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
yeah. I mean,
All right,
Yeah,
so
who's trying to play basketball while our pools are late? Like, real talk.
so yeah, so if you want to go to that tournament and you think you're good enough to win this monthly, come through, because if you win, you get free venue. So that'll be leading into Ultimate, leading into that event. You'll see that, and yeah, I guess we can move on from locals. We did have some Q&A again this week, which I wasn't even necessarily going to do, but I don't see a reason why not to do it, because we actually had good questions this week. Let me go ahead.
Did we? I really didn't pay much attention, to be honest.
Yeah, I actually think there were better questions than the week before, quite honestly.
Yeah. Such great questions coming from Delta. Like, why are you?
I thought that was a good question. I'm gonna
Well,
leave that.
In a sense, like, if by good you mean mysterious, then yeah.
All right, well, I can answer that. So, about 24 years ago, my dad fucked up,
Wait,
and now I'm here.
Wait, you're
the story
20,
starts
you're
with
24?
about 24 years ago.
Yeah.
But all right, so good questions, right? We got them. And actually, this is a question that's come up a lot, and I like this one because it's basically just asking, and this is Beast from Philly saying, how likely would it be to get some New York or Philly on the podcast? And
Never.
to which case, I mean, I'll say very unlikely. I'll say very likely. But here's the scoop. It'll be likely as much as like people interact with it and actually give feedback. For anyone who doesn't realize, you can write comments on YouTube videos. There is a Discord server that we have a section for this. We do have these tweets that go out. If you want to be on and you want to express some opinions and you feel like you have something to say, start with comments, start with tweets, interact a little bit, and you'll probably, or not probably, but you might get on. Because like I think a lot of people want to get on, and I don't think a lot of people know what they really want to say. They just want to like be on. But like if you want to have a discussion, like you could start it in the appropriate forums. But I mean, I would love to get the perspective. I think it would be great just to hear what some Philly guys have to say, what some New York guys have to say, because it is a big scene and we're all a little different. So if you want to be on the podcast, interact with us, man.
Yeah. The way that we pen it is that, like, when people ask, like, to be on the podcast, like, we're not trying to say no to hurt your feelings, but like we only really bring guests on. Like Law's pretty much just like he's a recurring member on the show now. Like we've added him to the opening cinematic. So
Yeah.
but like the guests for the most part are like, if it's topical to the thing we're talking about, then like we'll bring somebody on. Like we brought on Hazmat for the Shine episode because he's a Bostonian, and like we brought on Glenn about crowdfunding because obviously he's been on a compendium before, and we brought on ML for hurricane relief. I guess I don't really know what happened with that. But yeah, like if it's topical, like if we're talking about something very Philly centric, then we'd love to have somebody from your scene on. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
For sure. And then, like, again, like if you want to be that someone in Philly, the surefire way to get on a podcast that you like is to interact with it. But moving on, Mr. M asks, what do you think is the best way to try and revive a tournament that has been struggling with attendance? Assume that you cannot change the location and day. This is probably a popular question for a lot of organizers, as there are a lot of events and not all of them survive. I would say the most important aspect of this is essentially not necessarily worrying about the specific tournament and its survival, but doing what you can to keep your locals that do or were going there, whether they be going to school now or just not able to attend or maybe don't have the money, but keeping those guys close-knit and traveling with them to other events that do get attention and then using that as a platform to essentially grow your own tournament. because realistically, it's just like this is kind of an awkward stage in the game where Smash 4 is kind of down. It's hard to really build up anything new, so it's going to be hard to kind of revive attendance, but you can still keep your players and basically your main guys right in the thick of the action with things like monthlies or regionals, and it's your local will then sort of develop just by the personalities of your players going on the other streams and other tournaments developing themselves. At least that's how I think about it.
Yeah, I pretty much just echo all of that. Like, keeping my streak strong of bringing it up 7 podcasts in a row, but attendance isn't going to be a problem in a couple months because something. A lot of people are going to play Ultimate, and I think the big obviously I think the big thing is school might be hurting a lot of people's attendance, and obviously the new game around the horizon. But I think another thing that I would recommend is kind of like listening around to the crowd around you. Like maybe there's maybe the tournament's being ran too slow or something like that, or maybe there's like an outside factor to why people might not want to come back. Like maybe someone had a bad experience and you didn't know about it.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, so it's probably just ask around, like ask your regulars and be like, hey, like just always be open for criticism, because like somebody might bring something to your attention that you didn't like really realize. And like obviously like Mr. M's like a really relevant member in our community. Like he does a lot of stuff for us, so it's kind of easy to get lost and caught up with other stuff and then kind of neglect some other aspects of your tournament. But
yeah, I mean,
definitely just kind of survey the people around you is what my advice would be.
Yeah, he's hosting the MHG Awards, which was all his doing, working with Law and stuff. So he's definitely active. And I will say in this particular case, and you kind of just mentioned this, is just listen to your regulars. I could think of way more tournaments that MHG has run or myself has run with James or whoever that have failed miserably. I have more tournaments failed than ones that have been successful. It's only been recent that I've had like actual tournaments that stick. And part of that is just because maybe the location doesn't really work for a lot of people, or maybe there's just something a little off, as Koopa just mentioned. So it's just stuff like that, and then eventually within all of that, within all the construction criticism you may or may not receive, you can find something that fits people more if you keep looking and all of that kind of thing. But let's see. This is a question from Black Ace, who is thinking of a new tag. How do you feel about Ultimate Regionals being like a Switch Fest where it's multiple competitive Switch games? I think that sounds great, personally. What's up?
No, I'm trying to like figure out what he means by that.
So basically, he's asking like Ultimate Regionals. Instead of just being Smash-centric events, like what would it be like if there was like more games involved that involved the Switch?
And stuff.
Yeah, which I think would be fantastic. The system loans itself so well to that because it's so portable, and a lot of people will kind of have their own. So I know for me personally, I'd like to see that included in a lot of tournaments, mostly just to bring in more people who want to play video games all day with people, but maybe not necessarily Smash, or maybe Smash isn't their specialty, but they'll still play it, but still have an outlet to play other things. I mean, I think that is actually pretty important moving forward.
I would love to see that. Imagine getting those like, remember those body pillow things at SmashCon, or like the big like couch things, the bean bags. Yeah. Imagine just having one of those sections, and then you just go, yo, all you casuals go over there, and they just grind and just lay down on the couches.
Yeah, dude, that's wait. Like,
I was gonna say shout out. I was
or
gonna
not
say
the
shout out to
couches,
the
whatever the
Yogi
bean
Bo, man.
bags.
Yeah, the Yogi Bows.
Yogi Bows, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little weird. I
Yeah,
don't want to
that's
say that out loud again. But sponsor us, please.
Yeah, actually. But dude, we're just gonna fill the stock advantage, the whole room with Yogi Bows.
Yo, please.
No room to actually walk. You just like you roll from Yogi Bo to Yogi Bo.
Yo, those things are fucking comfy. Don't at me. Like, I'm about it.
I'm going to add you anyway.
All right, well, I'm gonna ignore you. So.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on. Let's see, what do we got? Why Are You from Delta? We kind of addressed that one. We got this beautiful picture of Squidward from Skips. Always appreciate the feedback, Skips. And then This looks like a good question, actually, for all of you guys. Predictions for Big House Top 8 players to watch out for at the big house. Also, anyone taking side bets, and this is from Fusion Smash NJ.
He's not old enough to gamble. But whoever's the first seed will win.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. I honestly don't even know who's going to Big House, to be honest with you.
I'm pretty sure Tweak, MK is MK Lale? Yeah, MK Lale, Tweak, Salem, Mistake. So no, there will be Bales in top 8. That is my prediction.
My prediction is 100 viewers on the stream in top 8.
My prediction will be Rickles will beat another Sheik with Ganon.
Yes. I will. Yes.
I'm not going anymore.
Is anybody here actually is anyone that we know going to Big House? Now that I think about it,
Where is Big House?
Michigan.
It's in Michigan.
Big House.
At least in the projected top 3, I don't see any tri-state. Yeah.
Nobody that's gonna
Actually, no. Wait. It says Utopian Ray is in the bracket.
Okay.
Pretty random if it's just him.
I'll take money on Ray.
I would understand if Ralphie was in there too, but oh no, I don't know. Vinny's in there too.
Which Big House number is this? Do we know?
8.
Big House 8.
Jeez.
I'm gonna go ahead and check.
Yeah, it was one. That also going back was probably one of the main tournaments back then when it came to Grassroots.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the stream on that? This looks like a pretty melee. Oh wow, dude, this has a lot of people going to it.
I'm pretty sure Unrivaled. I don't know if they are this time. I know in the past they were.
I mean, I would imagine. I guess if it's in Michigan, probably.
Yeah, and Big House is definitely one of those Melee first events because it has a lot of history with Melee. But the Smash 4 side of things has been really interesting the last couple of years. So we'll see what happens.
I'm gonna throw up on the screen. Yeah. Well, not throw up, but put on display. I guess the people who have entered Big House 8, which includes the likes of MK Leo, Tweak, Salem, Mistake, Cosmos, Captain Zag, Void, Elegant. I'm sure the list goes on, so it looks like it's pretty stacked already. It looks like a 281-man bracket. I will go really quickly to see if I see anyone from Tristate, just out of curiosity.
It's in a few days?
Yeah, it's this weekend.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous, man. I haven't seen anything about this.
No.
I actually haven't either, but it's got the people.
I mean, some people, not
They just stopped caring.
It's got the big names, dude, and that's kind of what it takes.
It's got the big names, but not many other names. So, at least not as much. I'm pretty sure there's less than half of the other lowest Smash 4.
Looks like Max will be there.
I mean, it makes sense.
Probably commentating.
Yeah, you can't color me surprised. Just when I feel that would be a good thing to talk about next week. Just kind of look at the landscape of how the announcement of a new game can kind of kill your current one on arrival.
Mm-hmm.
But Chibo's going to be there. Let's go, Chibo.
Yeah, so Chibo's going to be there. Max is going to be there, probably commentating as well.
Yeah, we'll see, man. It's kind of crazy. We're already in fucking October, guys. It's fucking scary. We have to start fucking putting candy out for kids in a couple of weeks. That's wild.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy, but it is starting to get to be that time of the night. I guess we covered almost everything, and I'm going to go ahead and remind everyone again that there is a Discord server. You could find that right under this stream. Even if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link within the description that'll bring you there. If you like this podcast, or if you want to comment on anything you heard, or want to give some more ideas, why don't you just go ahead, find yourself in that Discord server, and type it into the Talk to Us section. It exists, or you could comment on the YouTube video afterward. This will be going up on SoundCloud pretty soon, trying to make it more accessible. But
spoiler, we have a SoundCloud now, guys. So
it's not actively being used, but it will. And if you like these things, go ahead and hit the whole shilling part now. Hit the thumbs up. It does go a long way. Share them. If you think this is cool or relevant, or you want to share with your friend, I do go ahead and timestamp these things to try and cut to the throat of some of the conversation when I feel like there's a lot of middle stuff, or I just want to get a point across real quick. But I'm having a lot of fun with these. I think they're going to get more fun as they go. We're still kind of finding the overall right direction for it. But yeah, you guys checking it out, and I know some of you have given me feedback in person. I really appreciate it. So we're gonna keep on moving. Anything you guys got before we close out?
Congratulations, Dark Matter. Nice browser's looking fresh.
Come to Platinum Star. It'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, please come to Platinum Star. That
Yeah.
Saturday is gonna be sick for me because I got Platinum, and then after the biggest UFC fight, probably of all time. And if you want to hang out with me after, you're welcome to. Unless your tag starts with a D and ends with R. Have a good night.
we love you, Matt. It's all good. But hold on. Before we sign out, I was gonna mention something, and now I can't remember what I was gonna mention. It's okay.
No, I'm just kidding. All are welcome.
Oh right, Platinum Star. Yeah. So we do have rivals this weekend, and apparently there are two like top 10 players in the world who are going to be there. One being a guy who lives in New Jersey, who is Cake Assault, and a whole bunch of people coming from New York. This sort of blew up out of nowhere. So if you are interested in rivals and you do want to get a taste of like what a tournament bracket would be like, go ahead and come out this weekend, because that'll be this weekend. And we also have Slap City, kind of like after all the other brackets, just for the funds.
Who makes the tag Cake Assault?
One of the top 10 rivals players in the world.
Like, what did the cake do? Anyway.
Well, like
there's
first episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The food fight one. Shit's lit.
Oh my god.
All right.
I never
Well.
watched Power Rangers, so I wouldn't know.
Oh my god.
Jeez, man. Do you remember that time that Biddy said that he thought Beautiful Joe was bad?
I mean, I've never like seen it or anything. That's a
Why
bad.
do we keep inviting you back, man? When are we gonna learn?
We love you too, Biddy. It's cool, man.
I'll be around always. Don't worry.
We accept you for some of the bad opinions you might have, but it's okay.
Hey.
You also have a lot of good opinions. But anyways, that's gonna cut it for us. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and we're gonna go ahead and bring you into Xeno, since that is going on right now. So stick around if you want to see some New York stuff. But thanks again for watching. Have a good night. See you next week.
Yeet.
Bye.